Hello everyone and welcome back to the Bantamweight Boxing YouTube channel with me, your host, Michael Waite. I hope you're all doing well, hope you're all having a good day so far. Got a different kind of video for you guys today. I've got my laptop, you can see just in shot. And I thought I'd just go through some of the news in the boxing world and give my kind of assessments and my opinions on it. There's always so much going on in boxing that it's hard to kind of cover all the content. So I thought, you know what? I'll shove it all into one video because some of the stuff is interesting, but it's probably not enough to do a whole video on. But yeah, it's still good to kind of cover it and for you guys to get my thoughts on what people are saying in the boxing world. I think a lot of these news articles at the moment are all kind of around the Loma versus Haney fight. Obviously, again, another massive fight in that kind of lightweight division after obviously having Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis. So good stuff coming out from there, and great for me to make content on it. So I'm enjoying it. I'm really pumped for this fight on the weekend. Definitely one I'm going to wake up for at God knows what hour, but I just think it's such a great fight. I'm a massive Lomachenko fan, love Loma. I like Devin Haney as well. I don't know him as well in terms of, I'm still getting to know him as a fighter. He's obviously had the good Kambosos win, but there's not really kind of a win on his record, like a significant performance that you go, oh, did you see Devin Haney versus... That was, I love that fighter. And also he's an interesting fighter, Devin Haney, where he just does everything very well. He's not, he's not particularly flashy. He's not particularly he's not got KO power. He's not got incredible speed that you've never seen before. He just does everything well. So maybe he hasn't got the attention of like the British fight fans like he deserves, but I still rate him very highly. And I'd say he's a fighter that's been managed very well. Definitely got good people around him. I think he's very close with his dad. He's with his dad very often. And he's just been promoted. Well, I say promoted well, but I'm saying I don't know him very well, but I think I say promoted in a sense of they've picked the correct fights at the right time. He's unified champion of the lightweight division at his age. That's an incredible achievement, but he's taken the right fights at the right time in his career. And he's done that while still pushing himself. It's not like he's taken easy gimme fights and cheated his way to becoming a world champion. He's still taken difficult fights, but I feel like with the Loma fight, he's actually taken that at the right time in his career. He's still young, he's still learning, but he's not a kid anymore. He's had 20 odd professional fights and has done it on big stages. So I think they've timed everything very, very well in his career, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, let's get into some news. First one, Loma versus Haney. Lomachenko on being underdog. I don't care, says Lomachenko. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I don't think Lomachenko gives about what people think about the fight or what they think about him, really. He's been in the game for longer than probably Devin Haney's been alive. He's seen everything. He's seen people try to slander him. He's seen himself, being compared to the likes of Muhammad Ali. He's had everything in his kind of journey. And I think if anything, he'll embrace being the underdog. He knows his own ability, he knows his skills and what's required to beat Devin Haney. And yeah, I think some fighters, more egotistical fighters, maybe like a Mayweather or something like that, who never really was considered the underdog, but certain fighters, it would kind of upset them if they were known to be the underdog. But someone like Lomachenko, I don't think it bothers him, as he says. He doesn't care. What else have we got? I'm sure there's going to be quite a few on this fight coming up. Devin Haney, Loma's game plan is to make it as dirty as possible. Yeah, I saw this article before actually when I was skimming through, and I just thought it was a bit of a weird one. Lomachenko has never really been shown to be a dirty fighter. It's not really his style. It's the complete opposite to what he does. He's a very technical fighter, very skillful fighter who actually tries to avoid fights from being dirty. What's the name of the guy Loma fought who was dirty? His loss, I've forgotten, his name slipped my mind now, but his second fight where that was one of the most dirty fights I've ever seen. I'm gonna have to Google that because that's gonna bug me. But yeah, Loma needed to get dirty. No, I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Usually when you say that about a fighter, like they need to get dirty, it's because the person they're fighting against technically is probably a bit better than them, and the only way they're going to be able to compensate for that is using their physical size and yeah, making it dirty in that sense. You know, I think of something like Usyk versus Chisora. Chisora is never going to outbox Usyk. What did he do very well in that fight? He made it dirty, used his physical presence and bullied Usyk at points. Wasn't enough to win, but you know, you take my point. Lomachenko is half the size of Devin Haney. You know, I exaggerate there, but he's a lot smaller than Devin Haney and is not going to, even if he wanted to, I suppose he could make it dirty and kind of low blows and stuff like that, but I think that'd be counterintuitive. I think, yeah, I don't really get what Devin Haney is getting at there. The fighter as well, of course, was Orlando Salido. What a fight that was. Bloody hell. That, yeah, Jesus, that was I remember watching that fight, and I've never seen so many low blows in my life. It was just, yeah, a shocker of a fight. Shocker of a, yeah, real shocker. Anyway, before I go down memory lane with Lomachenko, I could do a whole video on that. We've got to move on. Devin Haney, again, I'm going to make Lomachenko pay for what he put me through. Bloody hell. Devin Haney's been on the microphone this week. He's really selling this fight. It's interesting to see the two polar opposite characters. You know, Lomachenko, the only quote we've got from him is, "Oh, I don't really care." And then Devin Haney calling out Lomachenko for everything under the sun. He's geared up for this, Devin Haney. Like, he is really geared up for this. And I think it's important for him to be geared up and be pumped for the fight, but control that in the ring. And, you know, he really wants to dethrone Lomachenko and kind of end the whole, and end his career, essentially. You know, if Lomachenko gets beaten badly here, we know Lomachenko will always be a great fighter, but from now on, he's not really going to mix it with these top guys. And Devin Haney wants to be the guy who does that. But hopefully he can control that and not, you know, abandon his game plan in an attempt to knock Lomachenko out. I think he still needs to be quite calculated with his work in there. Moving on to something very different. Francis Ngannou to take tune-up before Joshua, Fury or Wilder fight. Yeah, so I've always kind of watched the UFC, but more of kind of a distance. I'm not that well versed in it. Obviously know Francis Ngannou, one of the top guys in UFC, you know, was a world champion, or yeah, UFC champion, but then split from UFC in a kind of attempt really to, I think, secure the bag, like, you know, get some money in the boxing world and all of that. But he left the UFC quite a while ago now, and there's been like talks, but nothing really set up in terms of a fight or anything like that. I think Ngannou, as this says, you know, he's really looking for those top four guys. I'm sure, you know, they'll get a draw for that, and I'm sure, you know, if that fight was to be made, there would be quite a bit of money there, and he would make some money. But for me, it just doesn't really interest me. The crossover stuff doesn't really interest me. Don't think, you know, I suppose like an Ngannou versus Wilder, like, you know, if you like to see knockouts, which most people do, that would be quite a good fight. Ngannou Fury, no interest, just worlds apart in terms of boxing ability. Same with probably Joshua and Usyk. Usyk might be quite funny to see Usyk next to Ngannou, you know, it's like just purely for the circus size difference. But yeah, it doesn't really interest me, to be honest. I was bought into the hype with Mayweather and what's his name? I was going to say Conor Benn, but that is Conor McGregor. But I don't think this is anywhere near that kind of hype. It's not really that about it. And it just, yeah, it seems a bit of a shame with Ngannou, because now you've got John Jones, who's actually the UFC champ in UFC as a heavyweight. And actually, that's one of the biggest fights that he could have made if he had stayed in the UFC. But hopefully it works out for Ngannou. He seems like a nice guy. And he wants to secure the bag, so good on him. WBA will order Usyk versus Wilder next if Dubois unable to fight in summer. Yeah, I touched on this on one of my other videos about Tyson Fury. All kind of really strange what's going on here. It kind of seems to come out of nowhere that it looks like Dubois versus Usyk isn't going to happen for a knee because of a knee injury or something like that from Dubois, and just kind of other talks just seem like he's changed trainer Dubois, and it just seems all a bit off. So it does seem like that fight's might not happen, and then Wilder being pulled in as a sudden replacement for it. That's a good fight. It's still a good fight. You know, it's not Usyk Fury, but right now, if any of those four will fight, I'll take it. Yeah, difficult one to call that. They're just so different. Usyk, well, they're so different. Yeah, I think I'm picking Usyk. I haven't actually thought about what would happen in this fight, to be honest. I've not really put them two together. Off the top of my head, I think I'm picking Usyk. I think he could probably keep the kind of tempo up so high and he would be able to physically box for 12 rounds, Usyk, and ping around the ring and be so difficult to hit. And I think he would outpoint Wilder. I don't think he would knock him out. Wilder's got real serious heart. We saw that in the last Fury fight, real heart. But then if AJ could land on Usyk, so could Wilder. And if Wilder lands, it's lights out. That's the difference. It only takes one, you know. But I'd still think I'd say Usyk. Hard one to call. But I'd be happy to see it. But that does seem to have come out of absolutely nowhere, that he is now potentially the mandatory. Here we go. Shane Mosley says, Bivol rematch, very dangerous for Canelo. Yeah. Yeah. It's hardly Einstein, is it? It's like, yeah, he lost, so of course it's going to be dangerous. But not. I've got nothing against Shane Mosley. It just seems like a bit of a redundant comment. Like, yeah, anyone you've lost to is, if you fight them again, it's not going to be easy. Yeah, but I would agree with Sugar Shane. It's definitely a dangerous rematch. Looks like it is going to happen for Canelo. He is going to take it. I would advise not to, Canelo. I would, if you are watching, I would say go for the what's his name? I was going to say Viterbia, but it's not. It's Benavidez. Bloody hell. I always struggle with names on these videos. I'd go for the Benavidez fight. I think Canelo could win that, and I think it's still a massive fight. I think Bivol, too big, too good. Right, let's go back to Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko must get inside on Devin Haney, says Tim Bradley. Yeah, that's going to be the game plan for Lomachenko in this fight with Devin Haney. Devin Haney, I imagine, is going to try and keep it a bit more rangy. 5'10", bigger guy, stronger. When Lomachenko gets on the inside, I imagine he'll tie up. If anything, I think he's going to be the more rugged fighter, and I think that's the best way to beat Lomachenko, is to make it, a bit scrappy. But yeah, for sure, Lomachenko is going to have to be, is going to have to get inside, which is going to be difficult to do in the early rounds when Haney is pumping out that jab. But yeah, if he wants to win it, that's what he's got to do for sure. He's got to, put him into the matrix, and he can only do that at close range. He's not going to be able to fight at long range for sure. Let's see if there's anything else, and then I'll wrap this one up. Let's see. Well, that's what I was saying. Tim Bradley says Canelo beats Benavidez. Yeah, I do agree with that. I do think Canelo beats Benavidez. I think it's a tight fight. And the longer I think Canelo waits, I think the more in favour people will be of Benavidez. So if I was him, I'd take that fight now, rather than waiting a bit too long and Benavidez, improving as Canelo starts to decline, and having that fight later on in your career and potentially losing it. I don't think the fans are calling for the Bivol fight. I think it's more of an ego thing, I imagine, for Canelo. He needs to strike it off, and if that's the case, then kind of good on him. It shows fighting spirit, and he wants to avenge his loss. And if he wins, there'll be a lot of people like myself eating their words, because people have really ripped Canelo off against the Bivol for the rematch. But yeah, okay, I think that wraps us up there for the boxing news for this week. mainly talking about Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. I'm super excited for that fight. I've been swaying. At first I was I've never been completely anyone. I was very in favor of Devin Haney. Then hearing a few people, I was like, oh, Lomachenko could do it. But I'm sticking with Devin Haney. I think it is going to be a kind of case of passing of the torch. I think Devin Haney would have prepared very well for this. And I think he's going to do the business, the younger man. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Do like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.